Hey guys, DVSGames here. Welcome to another video. So today we're going to be taking on the collaboration dungeon. This time around, it looks like we got a couple of different monsters we can choose from. And I think we're going to start off with the Dark Bayek. I know that he has this passive that allows him to attack a random enemy and possibly stun them for one turn. It's not very consistent. It's not going to work the way you want it to in Siege or any kind of PvP fight, especially RTA. But for this content, I think it'll be more than helpful. So we're going to start off here. We're going to use him as a rep monster for us. We're going to go ahead and bring in our Fatal Revenge Rauk. We're going to bring in our Fran. And normally I bring in Veramos or something, but here I think I'll go ahead and bring in this Kaki. He's on Violent Revenge. As you can see, those are his stats and his artifacts. You can go ahead and pause the video if you need to take a better look at the stats. For the most part, they've all been shown in previous videos, so if you haven't seen those, please go watch them. And if you have seen them, well, you know what they look like, right? So there's our Fran on Violent Revenge, as you saw. Doesn't necessarily need to be on Violent, but Violent's always helpful. It's the reason that we farm dragons. So this team is the team that I use going all the way through normal. And the basic strategy here is we're going to go ahead and pick all the elite stages that we can so that we can get the best loots. Do keep in mind that there are some loots that are going to require you to have a full team of assassins, which I haven't worked on any of them. I know a lot of you have already gotten Altair, so if you haven't built and you want to try them here, you can. I wouldn't recommend it. If you have the Water Bayek built, I think that he would actually be very good here. Just because I really like his kit. I think that for PvP purposes, when you have a boss that has a single target attack that you can force them to target somebody with, I think that that's very useful. So I think it'll be real good in TOA hard, TOA, as long as you're able to silence them or get some other form of them not being able to use an AoE attack on you. I think that's a very useful skill to have. So I do have this sped up a little bit so that it'll go through. I think all in all it took me about 45 minutes to clear the dungeons from normal all the way through to hell. I did also have a thought in the back of my head when I started this. I did figure that week 1 we had the wind boss at the hell level, and week 2 we had the water boss at the hell level. So this being week 3, I figured we're probably going to get the fire boss at the hell level, which for the most part shouldn't be too big of a deal, but it does definitely make you want to reconsider who you're going to bring in as your support assassins that you're going to get. I would heavily recommend that you stay away from the wind one. Wind Cassandra, I think it is. She is interesting, and I do think that she has a place, but going up against the hell boss, I think that it would be very difficult to use her. Unless, of course, you don't plan on using any of the units here and you're just going to use monsters you already have built, then it's definitely a viable strategy. Use her for the stages that you want her for, and then just use your regular team for the final boss. When you do the normal stages, you do tend to get these green. Sometimes you'll get purple loot, so keep that in mind. Try to remember what it is that you're picking up along the way, because there are some things that require you to have other loots in order for them to work together. For this one, we just target down the boss, and again, this sick animation, I really love it. I think it's awesome that they put this in just for this collaboration, and I just think it's awesome. I really like this cinematic that they have. And of course, another thing that you should look for in your loots is they do have the vampiric effect. Not exactly sure which one it is. I thought it was Thorn Trap, but that does damage to the enemies under inability effects. So obviously against bosses, it's not going to do much. You cannot stun them, you cannot sleep them. So I guess that would be really good if you're having problems in waves. Unfortunately, you would have to know that in advance. So maybe if you had problems last week with the waves, that might help you out. But here we picked up the Water Cassandra. She does have a defense break on her skill 1, and on her skill 2, she has a multi-hit dot attack. Also, she has a strip, I believe, with her passive, so it's very helpful when it comes up to things that are going to put buffs up. This Bloody Fang right here is what I was talking about. It gives you a vampire effect, and I think that it's really good just because of the fact that it allows you to have not necessarily a healer as a support, but you can use attackers that are for the most part pretty tanky. These units that they've supplied us with are actually very tanky, but it also happens to work on the units that you're bringing into the fight. So like my Kaki, for instance, he already heals on skill 1, but now with his AoE he can actually heal a lot more because he deals damage to everybody. Very, very cool mechanic that they have in here. Of course, it's only going to be useful for the Collab dungeon and does nothing for you outside of this, but still, I thought it was really cool that they put it in. Now here you definitely want to go ahead and take out the light heart magicians on the end, just because they're going to take your strips away, which you kind of need the strips so that way Hathor doesn't sleep you when she gets turned. In this particular fight, it's not a problem, but I could imagine if you ran into it on Hell, it would be a problem. So definitely something you want to keep in mind. This curse symbol also I think is really good. It provides branding for you. So now you're able to bring defense break, attack down, branding, slow, silence even. All these come as additional perks for just having those loots as you go through the dungeon, and I think it's really cool. Now granted, I understand exactly why they couldn't put this in every other dungeon. In this particular dungeon, you have to be in this particular stage you have to be careful. The Yens can go crazy, as you just saw. They're the only monster that has a built-in violent proc that seems to take place a lot more than just regular violent runes. If you happen to have a Yen on Violet, she can go super nuts, which is awesome. There are also some loots that require you to have other specific loots, like Sign of the Assassin or Hood of the Assassin. If you do happen to pick one of those up, remember that you need a specific one in order for it to activate. It doesn't actually give you all of the buffs until you have exactly what the conditions require. Aside from that, this team worked pretty well for me. Now I do know that the dungeons are pretty much I think they're kind of randomized to a small extent, maybe not a huge extent, but I do know that they're randomized to a certain degree. Not everybody's gonna have the same layout that I did, and I know that mainly because my alt doesn't have the same layout, so I can't follow through and just be like, oh, go right, left, right, left. As I said, my best advice to you guys is attack as many elite stages as you can. Try to stay away from the normal stages. If you see a revive somewhere on the map that you need to get to, plan accordingly and head towards there as early as possible. Best case scenario, you don't need it and you can just veer off to the other direction. Worst case scenario, you do need it and you actually go through there, but it stops you from having to have a fight. So that's kind of helpful. Here, kind of tricky. With the Isolins, they're able to do a lot of counter attacks and get a lot of dots on you. And of course the Rebeccas are able to keep everybody really healthy with their cleanse and heal. As you can see though, it's not entirely impossible. It's just a matter of targeting the Isolines down first and then targeting the Rebeccas. You always want to target the Isolin that is not stunned, because the others that are, if they're stunned, they can't counterattack you. If they're not stunned and you attack a stunned monster, the others can counterattack you. So keep that in mind. Something like a Veramos or a Sigmaris would be really good here. Even a Tyrone or a Varad. Now here going into water, as I said, my guess was that we're going to have fire at the end. Obviously this is our second fight, so going up against water. And I do know that my vigor is very good, just from what I had to use last week to beat it. So I thought vigor would be really good here. He's got a heal block, he's got a defense break. We did pick up the ability to brand, so that'll definitely help us out. Now his Mace of Conviction, I do believe that it steals a buff from your team whenever he does an attack. So it just becomes a matter of getting him down. And if you're able to keep the heal block on him, it's not an issue. But once he gets immunity up, it is kind of hard. So you definitely want to be able to constantly have Cassandra stripping. Now, this particular cinematic, I really like. It's not the same as everyone else's. The headbutt at the end is what really gets me. It's just so brutal. I think that's amazing. I love the way that they put that amount of viciousness into the attacks. But yeah, I thought that was really cool. As you can see, checking through all these, Edge of Silence is the one that actually allows your monster to put a silence on them whenever you attack. It's, I think, only a 10% chance, but still it's pretty good. It works well. Here, as you can see, we pick up the Fire Eivor, I think it is, and we're going to go ahead and use him for the remainder of our fights. As you can see, the Dark Bayak, he is really coming through with that stun. He does get that little extra attack off, and against these tractors, it's really nice because they can't be defense broken, so it's going to be a little bit of a drawn out fight. But you can definitely stun them up and not have to worry about them for a little bit. Here, same thing. You've got the wind snipers. If you attack them, they have a chance of immediately taking a turn and attacking back. Definitely a scary thing to think about. But as you're collecting your loot, you can pick up additional resistance, additional HP and defense, additional attack and crit rate, and crit damage as well. Very helpful because most of these monsters are super tanky. Not sure if I said that already, but they are. Here you definitely want to target the wind robos first, just because they can strip and they have that giant robot punch stun move that it's really fun to watch, and it's really fun when you're the one doing it, but when it's done against you, it's really horrible. It makes you feel bad. But yeah, after you take care of them, you don't necessarily need to take care of the blacksmiths, but my auto was just hitting who it wanted to, so yeah, we took care of that. And from here, again, just a matter of picking something that's going to help you. Now here I did kind of look and I counted it out, how many more normal stages I would end up going through. And I think this was probably the best way for me to get there, while still getting as many elite stages as possible. Now the Pudding Princesses, I'm not exactly sure what they do. Don't have a lot of experience playing against them. Haven't really seen them since the collaboration. And even then, I can't even tell you which monster they were from the collaboration from Cookie Run Kingdom. I just know that this one gave immunity, and it was kind of annoying. But wasn't super bad. We got through it, no problem. Now here, I did want to take out the Tessarians first. mainly because of the fact that I don't want the Oblivion on my guys. I know my Fire Eivor has a passive. I know that my Dark Bayek has a passive. And I know that my Water Cassandra has a passive. So I really just didn't want them hitting me to put Oblivion on. As you can see, no problem. Here, we're going to target the Wind Puppeteers because bombs can definitely do a lot of damage if they stack up on you. But being able to put silences on them, definitely helpful. The the immunity that Fran puts up, definitely helpful. After we've taken care of the Puppeteers, straight for the Desert Queen, we can take care of Isis, no problem. She'll go down quickly. The Tenacious Heart, I actually think is actually not that bad. Definitely something you can use. I think I end up using it. I get a chance to get it later on. I think I get it right before the boss stage. And if you guys remember correctly, the fire boss, it moves very, very slow. But he can't have his attack bar manipulated. And when he attacks, he actually cleanses himself, heals up for the according to the amount of debuffs he removes, and he's able to attack you and apply dots for 2 turns per each debuff removed. So if you got 4 debuffs on him, he's going to heal a bunch and then he's going to put 4 dots on you for 2 turns each. Definitely annoying, and unfortunately you guys are moving super fast, so having that immunity on for just a turn or 2 is not going to be super impactful, but I think that it's definitely something that is worth it, and you need to do it just because of the fact that those 1 or 2 turns that you get without getting dots on you are definitely what makes the difference in this particular stage. Here, as I said before, in the Hell stage, it was definitely a little bit more difficult. But at this point, all you gotta do is focus on the Light Assassins just because they're squishier. You can take them out one at a time, and every time you do, a Briand is gonna revive one, even out everybody's HP, and put up regen, which is not a problem. All you gotta do is put the heal block on and get through it again. It works, not a problem. Easy peasy, man. This Dominic one, I actually failed the first time. I lost my friend right away, so I said, okay, not gonna need Fran here. I think I'm gonna need something a little bit tankier. So I went ahead and put, oh yeah, I dropped my phone. Auto rotate is fun. Worst special effect ever, right guys? So I did go ahead and restart the stage, and I put Veramos in. I thought that he would be very helpful because where I lost Fran was right here. The werewolves were able to put somehow my friend got a defense break on her. The werewolves focused her, and when that happened, they just made short work of her. So I was like, okay, if I didn't have the defense break, I would have been alright. So Veramos would have cleansed the defense break, it would have been fine. Now here against this particular boss stage, you definitely want to take care of the Arnolds first. Make sure that you're able to silence them or stun them. Again, Veramos plays a very good pivotal role here. You can use a Verad, you can use a Tyrone, you can use anything that's going to control the 2 Arnolds, because back-to-back extortions will kill anybody on your team. And if they're targeting the fire monster, he's dead. If they target your Veramos, he's dead. There's no way you can make yourself tanky enough to take extortion twice back to back. So that Elixir of the Crow, I believe that was the loot that gives all of your Brotherhood members immunity for 3 turns. As you can see, very helpful. stops the Sophia from getting the defense break on my Cassandra early on, and then when it does finally hit, Vermos is able to cleanse it off, and I don't end up losing this fight over and over and over again. Here, not a big deal. Deal with McKean. She's not that hard to deal with. She is a reviver, so there's kind of an annoyance that comes with that, but little by little you can get everything down. You have the strip on a couple of your monsters here. I believe it's the Bayek that's still he has it on his skill too, so he's doing that while he's dealing damage. He's applying dots from one of the loots that we picked up along the way. He's applying the stun with his crow on his passive, which is awesome. Here, just kind of want Lisa to not be able to get her cleanse off. Not because she's an amazingly hard hitter, just because it just makes a fight super, super long. And that's really annoying. Aside from that, once you take them out, Megans are easy food. Not a problem. And here, just make sure you pick something that's going to help you. So going into the boss stage, I actually went in with the same exact team that I used the first time around, and it does seem to work well. Now with this particular team, I'm not putting on too many debuffs right off the bat, so I did decide that I was going to go ahead and kill off the side members first, just because I'm not 100% sure of what they do, but obviously they're going to do something that's going to help the boss by either extending debuffs on you or reducing buffs on you. So I just figured I would take out that first one on the right and try to control the second one. Unfortunately, didn't work out like that, so I just said, you know what, he's going to keep healing. I'll just go ahead and attack the second minion. I was able to get continuous stuns on him and a couple lucky procs from Vermos. I didn't have to actually restart this stage at all, so that was really cool. Little by little, I just kind of chunked him down, and we're able to deal more damage to him than he was able to heal from our debuffs, so that was definitely a good thing. And then here's the final cinematic. Obviously, I thought this was okay. I would have much rather seen the headbutt. Headbutt was just cooler to me. I really like this animation too, but seriously, the headbutt was amazing. By the way, we get a splendid blessing of summons for completing this week, so please make sure you guys get that. Thanks for tuning in, guys. See you in the next one. Laters.